Hey, I'm so sorry for being late, but that's business. Um, a lot of calls. Okay, let's see. Let's see if you hear me. Let's see if you see me. Let me know in chat below if you are watching. If you're still there, I'm so sorry for being late. We had a big break from these live streams. I think I haven't been Oops, sorry. I haven't been streaming for maybe like 3 months. So when I started my NIFA, my filmmaking course, I decided to stop live streaming because it's Tuesday, 12 p.m. in California. Let me show you something. Let me show you, by the way, what's going on right now where I am. Yay. Hey, hello, everyone. Okay, so I'm streaming from my new apartment. This is the view from my desk. This is like the dream view I've been dreaming of. So you're looking at me, I'm looking at the view. I'm sorry. Again, because it's Tuesday, 12 p.m., there are so many things going on with Language Trip. I had to jump on a couple of calls and deal with some situations. But yes, now I'm here. I was thinking maybe we could think of a slightly different time for the next live streams. But I definitely want to do them. I definitely want to connect with you. Yeah, the view is amazing. Thank you so much. Okay, let me know. Okay, you already let me know what country you're watching from. We have all variety of countries. We have Turkey, India, France, Russia, Morocco, Brazil. Everybody's here. Okay, cool. So what we do on these live streams. So this live stream is for you to ask me any question. Sometimes I have topics for them. Sometimes we have a dedicated topic like studying the United States or studying English or whatever. This live stream has no topic, basically. It's just me and you. Why? Because I haven't been doing this for quite a while, and I just want to reconnect with you. Let me know. Oh, comment down below in the chat right now if this is your first live stream with me. So if you are studying English, if you are interested in understanding people better, learning new words, this is an amazing chance to ask me a question, ask me to pronounce something, to say something, to explain something. I'm here for you. This is, you can look at this as a Skype lesson with a tutor. So I'm here to answer your questions. Okay, let me see. Yeah, first time, there's so many first timers. That's amazing. Cool. How do you get confident with English? This is a great question, and I know this is something that matters for a lot of people. So the thing is, I wasn't that confident with my English, especially like live streaming, and I have like 600 people watching right now. That would have been so intimidating a couple of years ago when I just started my channel. I was even afraid to talk to a camera in English because I thought, oh my God, potentially there are thousands of people behind the camera watching, and I was so afraid. But it's all about training. It's all about going out there and talking to people. My best advice to anyone who's unconfident in their English, like sit down in front of your computer. You just need your web camera. You don't even need to buy like fancy equipment. Do you want to see my equipment, by the way? So I have, well, that's not all of it, but this is what I use for my videos. You see, all professional. So you don't even need to get that. My first videos, I shot them with an iPhone. So my task for you for this weekend, what you're going to do, you're going to take your phone, or you're going to take your web camera. You're going to sit in front of your phone and web camera, and you're going to talk about the topic you like the most. I'm 100% confident every person in this world is an expert in something. Maybe you are an amazing dog lover and you love dogs and you know everything about French bulldogs like I am, like I do. Or maybe you like dancing, like something. Everybody has a hobby. So my task for you is to sit down and record a, 5 or 6 minute video just about your hobby, something you wanted to share with people who are passionate about the same thing as you. Now, you don't need to upload it to YouTube, but I would highly recommend to do it because you don't have to share it with your friends. The way I started my channel, I haven't shared anything with anyone. Is that correct? I haven't shared anything with, yeah. But I just uploaded it to YouTube and I let it stay. And then suddenly, in a couple of months, I check my YouTube and I'm like, wow, I have 1,000 followers. How the hell did that happen? I haven't really promoted anything. But YouTube is amazing in a way that if you produce good quality content, it's going to promote it. So maybe if you've been dreaming of becoming a YouTuber, this is your chance. Or if you don't want to become a YouTuber, you just want to practice your English, then you can always make those videos unlisted. So nobody else would be able to see them. And this is an amazing way for you to practice English, to practice in front of the camera. Then you're going to look at yourself. You're going to notice the mistakes. You're going to know how it all went. And yeah, the next videos, you're going to become better and better. In my case, my first videos, I had to cut out so many things. Like I was using so many, space filler words. So like like, etc. So I was using a lot of those, but yeah, then with practice, they just all went away. So this is my advice to you. And this is the answer to the question, how to become confident in English. You know, sit down, record a video. And if you do it every week, like an exercise, instead of, I don't know, instead of drinking, if you drink, or instead of farting, just record a video a week. You're going to be amazed how your accent, how your language improves. Okay, next question. Is grammar necessary to make a conversation? Mr. Trix is asking. Okay, so grammar is of course important. Like without grammar, you would not be able to communicate your thoughts. But what I've noticed, like my mom and dad are here right now. They were born and raised in Russia. My mom speaks like really little English. My dad doesn't speak English at all. But what I notice when my mom communicates with people here, she knows just one. Oh no, she knows, I would say she knows 3 times, but she doesn't use them all properly all the time. But the thing is, people can understand you even you use 1 time. And sometimes you say, I go there yesterday. And of course they get that you're meaning past tense because you're using yesterday. So, okay, they realize you've made a mistake in building the grammar construction, but because you inserted yesterday, they're like, oh, okay, she's talking about the past. And this is super important. Again, our goal in studying a language is not to be perfect in standardized tests. Though this is a goal for somebody, definitely. But for us, like the main goal of a language is to speak it. So it doesn't matter what level you have right now, whether it's beginner, intermediate, you're probably like pre-intermediate minimum if you're watching this video and are able to understand stuff that I'm saying. So your goal is to start speaking as soon as possible. So even if you're a beginner and you know just 1 tense, that's fine. Like my mom, I would say she's upper beginner. There is no such level. There is pre-intermediate, but I would say she's a beginner. She's really basic. But she's able to talk about anything in this world just by using signs, you know, adding some words that she knows, maybe using wrong constructions, grammar constructions, but you know, people get what she's saying. And you know what's the most important? She's getting practice with her English every day here. So this is your second goal after recording a video. Your second goal is to practice as much as you can. In my case, as you know, I was born and raised in Russia. So what I did, I went to a museum in Russia. We have this Hermitage Museum in St. Petersburg, which is, I think it's the largest museum in the world or in Europe, but it would take you like a couple of years to see everything. So what I did, I went to that museum. I had a pass, which allowed me to go there free. And I looked for foreigners who needed help. And if they needed help, I just came by and asked, oh, do you need help? Or, hey, I'm from St. Petersburg, and, you know, I'm studying this lyceum, and I can tell you this, this, and that. I also was a part of a volunteer group of students who made excursions for foreigners who came to St. Petersburg. And one of the most amazing things is that we volunteered to take around the Duke of Edinburgh when he came. We also took around the British Consul General when he came to St. Petersburg. So we did a lot of cool stuff. I'm pretty sure there is something like that in your city. Maybe it's a speaking club. Maybe it's a volunteer organization, especially like, I would say, especially Russia, maybe Asia, where people don't really speak English, but they really want to. There are loads of those organizations, so look for them. They're completely free, and you get a lot of practice. Okay. Let me see. Which books would you recommend to read in English? That's another great question. The philosophy behind choosing books, choosing TV series, choosing films is that you have to be interested in the topic. If I tell you, hey, read about economics and you don't like economics, then don't listen to me. Because the most important thing is that you're interested. For example, in my case, when I started reading books in English, I was in the UK. I had this exchange program, my school and the school in the UK. We could travel to the UK for free for a couple of weeks to stay there. So I was 14 and 15 and 16, the time when I traveled to the UK. And when I came there, I realized that apart from the language barrier, apart from that conflict, like between the kids, I couldn't understand what they're saying. The second thing that prevents me from integrating into society is actually culture. British kids talked a lot about things I had no idea about. Maybe some games they played in their childhood, maybe some, I don't know, the characters from the cartoons. I didn't know them. So my goal, I was willing to integrate in the society, so I bought a lot of kids' books. And if you are intermediate, I would recommend Jacqueline Wilson, all of her books. Like any of her book, hello, focus. All of her books are amazing. I loved all of them. I laughed like crazy. She has very British sense of humor. So it's Jacqueline Wilson. You can just look for it on Amazon. By the way, I think that's a great topic for a video. I'm going to write that down. Books to read in English, right? Sorry, I'm writing that down. And then another thing that I used to read when I was intermediate were magazines like Cosmopolitan, Elle Girl, because, well, I was interested in fashion and I wanted to read as much as I could about fashion. And the great thing about those magazines, they don't have a lot of text. They have a lot of pictures. They have a lot of visuals. So you can just, you can be reading a text and then you look at the picture and you get the meaning. So that's another advice to you guys. Look at the magazines that you enjoy, like, I don't know, Cosmo, Elle, Vogue. Maybe if you're interested in economics, then there's The Economist or Bloomberg, but that's a little higher in terms of English language. That will be like upper intermediate. Okay. Let me see. I'm looking for your next question. How did you learn other languages? That's a great question. So apart from speaking English, I speak German, but the problem is I don't use it a lot. I learned it at school. But again, with any language in my life, I had this period of studying. So I went to school back in Russia. We had a lot of grammar, we had a lot of vocabulary, but we never had practice. So I could write a lot of stuff. I could do standardized tests like mark the correct answer. But when it came to speaking, when I met a foreigner or when I hanged out with native speakers, I realized I couldn't speak. So in every single language that I've learned, and that's English, German, and Italian, the breakthrough happened when I traveled to a country where the language was spoken. In case with German, that was a trip to BWS German Linguist School, which can be found on LinguaTrip. One of the first schools we put on LinguaTrip because that was the school where I studied. And when I came there, so I saved for a long time. So the trip was, I think for 2 weeks, I spent like 700 euros, and I was 19, I think, on the second year of my studies in the university. So the way I made those money was, first I sold Avon Cosmetics. Second, I was a tutor, so like a private tutor. And my parents also gave me some money. So that was like the most transformational thing that happened in terms of my German life. When I came to Germany, I stayed with a German family. And I came out for breakfast one day, like the first day I'm there, I came out for breakfast, and like they're asking me in German what I want to eat, and I'm like, it's morning, it's 9 a.m. My brain doesn't want to speak German, but I had to because that's the only way I wanted to get my porridge. So I just take out the dictionary and like look for the porridge, and I ended up realizing that I used Haferflocken, which is a old word for porridge. Nobody uses it anymore. But anyway, this is how it works. You are in this environment where nobody speaks your language, and nobody wants to speak English to you, really. So my family, they were really old-fashioned. They couldn't speak a word in English. So the only way for us to communicate was German. And my host mom was amazing. She sat at home all day and watched TV. And I joined her every evening to watch what was it? The American Idol, but the German version, and like the singing contest. Everything that we watch on TV is pretty much the same in every single country. Like all of those TV shows, late night shows, they're in Germany, they're there in Russia, everywhere. So I just sat with her and watched TV, and we discussed my day at school. And that was like, as I said, that was the most transformational thing for me, not only in terms of the language, but also in terms of realizing that I want to travel, that I want to connect my life with international travel. And what I did in a couple of years, I got a scholarship to study in Dresden University of Technology for half a year because I got so inspired by Germany. So yeah, again, my advice, if you have some money, if you can take your time and save some money, the best thing you can do for your language is to travel to a country where the language is spoken, take a course. So yeah, and this is why I created my company, linguatrip.com. It's a booking platform to book all of those experiences. So hopefully, guys, we can help you have the same journey as I had. I have problem with speaking. That's the next question. I have a problem with speaking, although I know about 6,000 words. Please say what I need to do. Thank you. That's the same, like the same things I've been talking before. Start your YouTube channel to practice in English. Second, try to communicate with foreigners as much as you can. It's all about practice. Like, I'm just giving you examples of how you can practice for free, how you can, I don't know, how you can save money to travel to a country where the language is spoken. So it doesn't matter how many words you know. It's, you know, even people, as I said, my mom, she barely, I don't know how many words she knows, but like maybe 300, 400. She doesn't know a lot of words, but it's about practicing. So she goes, even when she goes to like Thailand, she manages to communicate with people. So yeah. Let's see a couple of other questions. Where are you from? I am from Russia, but I live in San Francisco. How can I learn new words easily, and what is your suggestion? Have you read my latest post on Instagram? So yesterday I made a post. If you're not subscribed yet, I would ask you to subscribe. So this is the let me see. Sorry, there is always this problem with focus. So here we go. No, it won't want to focus. Hello. So my Instagram name is Lingua Marina. And if you go and find me on Instagram right now, you're going to see this post where I'm sitting in the circle with books. And below that, I put top 5 idioms that Americans use here. And what I've done, I've described them in English. So because I have people from so many countries, I wouldn't be able to translate them in every single language. But this is the trick. When you encounter a new word, try to guess the meaning from the context, or buy or Google, English dictionary. So don't translate it straight away into your language. You know what works the most? Like, this is not in Russian it's chashka, in German it's tasse, in Spanish I don't know, in Italian, oh my God, what's happening to Italian? Are there any Italians? What's that in Italian? But yeah, the thing is, the point that I want to get to is this is not whatever I said in other languages. This is a cup, and this is how you should learn it. You don't need to translate it into your own language. You just need to realize that a cup is a thing that you use to drink, basically. I have my coffee here, by the way. Good morning, Marina. I had a rough night. I went to sleep at 4 a.m. Bah. Okay, Italians, what was the tazza? Tazza ragazza, okay. No. Okay, no, la tazza. Okay, gracias, grazie. Make sure. Okay, Tatsa. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I was thinking Tatsa, but I'm like, maybe not. Thank you so much. Okay, how to get better in listening. Again, come on, this is a lot. You just need a lot of practice. Some people tell that it's easier to understand me than to understand a native speaker. And I know why. Because, well, my English is not native. I still use simpler constructions. Maybe I use simpler constructions. I use simpler words, definitely. And also, it's about the way I talk. I don't have any particular accent because when you talk to a native speaker, probably he's coming from a particular background. Like, even in the UK, if you come from Oxford, you have a completely different accent compared to a person from Sheffield. And I don't have that because I come from Russia. Hey, my accent is, I don't know what's that, but it doesn't have something particular in it. So it's easier to understand. What worked for me, again, there's this blogger, I don't know, maybe you will find the same thing that I'm talking about. His name is Vitaly ZDTV. He's also an immigrant in the States. His American is awesome, American English, but he still has this slight accent, which makes him even more understandable. So maybe finding a person like me, hello, you don't even need to look for that person. I'm sitting right here. Finding a person who you understand in English and listening to them. The only problem with me, I would say, don't copy everything I do because, again, as I said, I'm not a native speaker, though I try to sound as natural as possible, but I'm still taking my time to learn. So yeah, find a person that you can understand. Maybe that's a person from Great Britain and you get British accent. I had this thing when I could understand British accent really well because I traveled to the UK. And then when I listened to an American movie, I wouldn't get a thing because American was an alien language for me. British was like, oh my God, I can understand everything. That depends. Some people say that Canadian English is the easiest to understand because Canadian English is a mixture. It's probably like, well, not like my language, but because people come from different backgrounds in Canada, they have this mixture. So maybe finding somebody Canadian TV show, yeah, watching it, and so you need to find a person or an accent that's understandable for you, and listen and listen and listen. And once you get that, you can proceed on to other accents. How to think just in English. Wow, that's a great thing to do, to think just in English. I would say eliminating your language from your life completely. That's how you would think only in English. Because I think in English when I communicate in English. When I communicate in Russian, I think in Russian. So the more I'm surrounded with English, the more I think in English. So the more activities you create for yourself during the day that involve English language, like as I said, YouTube blogging, or maybe communicating with natives or watching a movie in English, the more activities during the day, the more activities in English you have during the day, the more practice you're going to get, the more time your brain is going to spend thinking in English. Would you say you got better at speaking English thanks to making videos? I would say definitely yes. And the thing I got the best at while recording videos is actually switching from one language to another like that. Because, for example, when my parents are visiting, of course, we are speaking Russian all the time. But then I need to go on this live stream and I switch immediately, which is a great thing. Like, even 1 year ago, I was worse at that. And sometimes I need to jump from a Russian call to an English language call. And this switch is just so fast. It's amazing how our body, our brain can learn. So yeah, I think this is one of my biggest accomplishments in the last couple of months is switching from one language to another. Thank you for advising. Does it help if I travel to UK for 1 to 3 months? Of course, even if you travel. So my trip was for 2 weeks and it changed my language and my life completely. I would say travel for as long as you can, but if you cannot travel for a long time, even 2 weeks are so beneficial. And my advice to you would be going to a smaller town. If your goal is just English, not like sightseeing or whatever, go to a smaller town, go to Oxford, go to Cambridge, go to Brighton, and, you know, take a homestay and stay with locals and go to school and just immerse yourself. Again, this is about creating English language activities around you and surrounding yourself with English. Okay, I'm looking for the next question. I want to be an actor in Hollywood. Any advice? That's, again, this is basically the answer would be for everyone. A good actor has to master at least 12 accents. You have to speak like German English with an accent. You have to speak Russian English like a Russian speaking, or like a Spanish speaking Russian, or American English, Russian English. So you need to be all of that to be a good actor in Hollywood. If you're not able to do that, you have to be a really strong personality. I made this video about basically how to become an actor. And for example, Penelope Cruz, she still has the strong Spanish accent, but because she has such a great personality, she's a very attractive actress, she gets in the movies. But I would say that's an exception. So in your case, if you want to become an actor, you need to master your accent. And for example, there's this guy, Venia. We made a couple of videos together. And he has amazing American accent. Oh my God, thank you so much for a donation, Hugo. This is like one of my, well, this is probably like the second donation, but thank you. I understand you perfectly. What level of English do you think I am? I would say intermediate / upper intermediate, if you understand everything. Is there any prejudice about Russians in America? No. Well, I'm sorry. Because when you are communicating with an American, yes, they know that I'm Russian, but all of the conflicts are happening on the politics level. And people realize I'm not from politics and they're not from politics, so it doesn't matter. Have you ever been to the Czech Republic? Yes, I have, and a couple times, because as I said, I studied in Dresden, and Dresden is like 4 hours on a train from Prague. Hello from Brazil. Do you think that it's possible to achieve fluency without going abroad? That's a great question. For me, like me personally, no. Didn't work. I've been studying English since I was 4 years old, and the first time I traveled abroad was 14, and that's 10 years of studying English every day at school. And no, I couldn't even speak 2 words to people. I couldn't understand them. Same with German. So I would say no. For me, practice and immersing yourself is everything in a language. It's like, you know what? When I was a child, when I was 7 years old, I wanted to play piano. And we couldn't afford it, so my parents couldn't buy me a piano. And what they did, my dad printed out the keyboard, the piano keyboard, and he put it on my table, and I learned how to play. But when I came to a real classroom with a real piano, even though I have played the printed piano for a couple of months without any sound, yes, I had some knowledge, but I couldn't really start playing straight away. I still needed some practice. That's the same with language. When you're sitting in a artificial environment, your classroom, yes, you get those basics, you get the words, you get the grammar, but the actual playing, the actual speaking, you don't get it. And once you go into the environment, once you start speaking, you will need that time to transform. And the later you go, the more time you're going to take. Because when we grow up, our brain, it just, you know, it becomes stiffer like a muscles. When you can do, I could do a split, you know, a split. With your legs. I could do a split really easily when I was 7, 8 years old. I can still do it now, but if I don't train for 2 or 3 months, it takes longer to get back to it. It's the same with language. The older we grow, the less flexible a brain becomes. Less flexible, or a brain becomes. So, say anything to Brazil. Brazil. Portuguese, okay. We are translating LinguaTrip into Spanish, but if you are in Brazil and if you want to work with LinguaTrip and if you have experience, in study abroad. Please submit your resume to cv@linguatrip.com. Thank you. That's what I want to say. Hallo aus Deutschland. Hey, hey. We are, by the way, we are translating. We're finishing our translation of LinguaTrip into German. I have 2 friends from Russia. They are so generous. I know, that's the thing about Russians. When you meet them, first 10 minutes, they are so distant. They are so arrogant. I don't know, this is our culture. But then 10 minutes in a conversation, you're the best friends. And they're going to give you everything, like an apartment, a car. I'm joking, but this is, yeah. You went to a British consul or something to learn English? No, I went to a language school. Was it difficult for you to speak English with people when you arrived to the USA? When I first arrived in the States, it was 2013. I still had, well, my brain was trained to a British accent. So I spoke with a slight British accent. It was easier for me to understand British people. So it took some time to transform. But again, the earlier you start traveling, the faster the transformation goes. Friends here, say anything to French dudes out there. I can also say that we're translating LinguaTrip into Spanish. Oh, sorry, French. Oh my God. We started it a couple months ago. So hopefully we're gonna work with a lot of French students. We are working with French students already. So and with Brazilian students as well. I love how LinguaTrip is connecting so many nationalities. This is pretty cool. How do you know if you are pronouncing well or not? Okay, there's only 2 types of people in the world. That's Britney Spears. 2 types of people. First type, people who have this music ear and they can hear themselves when they speak. And for them, it's easier to master their accent because they hear themselves straight away. But there are people who don't have this music ear. And this doesn't mean they cannot master their accent. That only means that they will take a little more time. And for people who do not have this music ear, the way for them to master their accent is to record themselves and listen to themselves. And you're going to hear, like when you're going to compare yourself to a native speaker, you're going to hear in the recording, you're going to hear your mistakes. Yeah. So decide what kind of person you are. I notice all of my mistakes. The only problem is that I can make them like 6 or 7 times before actually fixing them, but I hear them. And I tell myself, hey, Marina, that was a mistake. Hey, Marina, that was a mistake. Please think better next time you're talking. Do you use idioms? Yes, but not a lot. I wish I used them more because Americans love them. Oh my God, I was sitting with my friend and we were talking and he was like, I'm just looking for this note. Yeah, he was just throwing idioms on me. He was using them in his speech all the time, and then just sat down like, do you mind if I just write them down for my next video? He's like, okay, you weird person. But yeah, they use a lot of it. An idiom, somebody's asking what's an idiom. So for example, again, let's look at my latest post on Instagram. It's like a textbook for you guys. Okay, it's Lingua Marina on Instagram. So crunch time, that's an idiom. If we translated verbatim, that's the word. If we translated word to word, crunch means when you bite something, it's crunchy, like an apple is crunchy, or granola is crunchy. So crunch time, if we translate word to word, is time when you crunch. But because it's an idiom, it has a completely different meaning than just these 2 words. Crunch time is time when deadline is approaching and you have to work really hard to meet it. That happened to me when I was preparing for exams. Like my exam is in a week, the whole week I do something different, like clean my apartment and plan. And then the last day before the exam, I would study. And this last day, I would call it crunch time. This is an example of an idiom. Crunch is crunchy. Yeah, that's a great explanation. Very professional explanation. Let's find her in San Francisco. I meet a lot of people in the streets in San Francisco who just say hi, which is pretty cool. Okay, how do you feel when you make mistakes? I always feel great. It's fine. It's okay to make mistakes. What I do a lot for my Instagram posts, because I realize you guys are reading, I've talked in my latest video, I talked about Fluent.express. This is a great tool to check your English language text. There is a link below, by the way, below this live stream. This is something my company and I have developed. So you get instant correction of your text by a native speaker. This is what I do for my Instagram posts because I don't want to make those mistakes. And it's fine when people point out, they say, hey, Marina, you made a mistake, and it's fine. Sometimes I don't like when people, some of them are really angry. They like become angry and they say, hey, why do you call yourself a teacher if you made that mistake? It's fine. Like, native speakers make so many mistakes. Again, my last video is about it. My latest video, that's the correct word. Again, yes, I made a mistake, but you got what I'm saying, right? That's the most important thing. Is it possible to learn 2 languages at the same time? I would not do that, but I've done that. I had my English class in the morning. I had my German classes in the evening. It's better not to, but sometimes that's the only way. So if you have no other option, then just do it. Oh, what I was doing in Germany, actually, I learned 3 languages at a time. That was okay. So I studied in German. I had my English classes, and I also had my Italian classes. That was pretty cool, pretty challenging. How can I improve my GRE score within 3 months? First, get a book, the GRE official guide. Second, just allocate at least 4 hours a day for practice. What's the story of your company? Oh, I love that question. So when I was 18, I've already told you, well, I was 14, I traveled to the UK. When I was 18 or 19, I had to organize my trip to Germany myself. And I realized how hard it is. And I realized that there are so many schools in the world and you have no idea what kind of school you want to choose. So I've always had this idea of creating like a booking.com for language schools. But we had no resources back then. But we started as a study abroad agency in 2011 with a guy from my group in the university. So in 2011 we started. In 2012 we rented a table in a co-working space. That was such an amazing time. Like, I was working myself with all the clients. And then in 2013 our profit started growing, so we even rented like a small office. I was able to travel. I took some kids to the United States, to the UK, just to travel with them. And then we realized, hey, this is the time to start building something greater, building LinguaTrip. And so we hired developers. We were like, oh my God, we're going to get it. And then the crisis struck. I don't know whether you had the crisis, but you probably had. So our currency, the Russian currency, lost 50% of its value towards the dollar. So no one wanted to travel anymore. And we were stuck with developers, with everything, like a lot of costs. So we started fundraising. And a lot of people, especially in Russia, told me that the best thing that I can do is to shut down LinguaTrip because there is no future. But we fought, and then we got investment from the Silicon Valley Accelerator, 500 startups. And yeah, this is the story in short. Is it fine to copy American accent? Yes, of course. Why not? Okay. What people say about your accent in your daily basis? Many people tell me they don't realize I'm from Russia, which is pretty cool. They tell me that my accent is pretty natural. What state is more appropriate for a student to live while studying? I mean, money, etc. So the costs vary depending on the state. Of course, California and New York are the most expensive areas. Florida, surprisingly, is not very expensive. I would say if you compare costs, Florida is, on average, you need $11,000 a year to support yourself. Maryland, you need like $30,000. Boston, you need almost $20,000. New York, you would need $23,000. And there are really cheap states like New Mexico, $8,000, $7,000. South Carolina, $6,000. Really depends. But I would not rely just on that, because there is financial aid from universities, and if you're a talented student, they can just cover that for you. So how to deal with a shy personality to dare speaking with natives. Put yourself in a situation when there is no other way. When you are in an English speaking country and you sit in your host family during breakfast and they are offering you something you really hate, and then they're offering you something you really love. And the only way for you to tell that you love something particular is to use a language. So if you put yourself in such stressful situation for at least a couple of weeks, your brain is going to give up stressing out. It's going to tell you, okay, this is time to sit down and, just forget about the stress and concentrate on communicating my thoughts in a different language. So this is the stressful situation, which is crucial to starting speaking a foreign language. What professions include traveling to different countries? That's a wrong approach. Any profession, if you're a great professional, would require traveling, because if you're a great professional, you're going to travel anyways. The best approach is to ask yourself what you love to do. Study abroad agency, the one that I started, does not require, well, it requires traveling, but you can get along without traveling as well. But what I did, I just moved to another country because I wanted to do something, and it doesn't matter. It's about when you choose a profession, it's about asking yourself what you love to do most, not what leads me to traveling. What resources do you use to reduce accent? Listening to native speakers. That's the best resource. Did you think of other nice countries before USA, like Netherlands, Denmark, Switzerland, with better quality of life? For me, well, I've been to Switzerland. For me, they are a little too comfortable. People are too relaxed for me. I like when people run around and go crazy and have goals in front of themselves to conquer the world. And that's what makes America so special. Everybody's hustling here. Everybody realizes there are no borders. There is nothing on top. You can get as high as you can. Like, hello, let me show you an example. This is Salesforce building. Salesforce is a small business CRM. They built the tallest building in San Francisco. And that's what they did. And that's all about America. You want to build the tallest building, you do it. You want to build the... I've been watching this TV show, The Men Who Built America. So they talk about Rockefeller, Ford. Ford is like, okay, I want to build a car that's affordable to everyone. Yes, we have this, what was it? Like a licensing company that wouldn't allow him to do that. And he's like, I don't care about the company. I just want to create my product. And in the USA, you don't see those borders. I would say in Europe, people are less, I don't want to say less ambitious. It's just they are more comfortable with their life. And what surprised me, for example, in Germany, what surprised me is that Saturday and Sunday, everything is silent. Everybody's sleeping. Where are people? I was asking my German friends, what do you do on the weekends? I don't see people outside. That is so weird. Shops are closed. In America, no. I work during weekends. So this is the kind of atmosphere I want to be in as an entrepreneur. I want to see everybody hustling around. I want to look out of the window and see the tallest building in San Francisco and tell myself, hey, Marina, you're going to build the same building someday. This is just, it's about having those higher goals. That's what I like about America. All right. Somebody tells me it's 6 a.m. in their country. North Korean. What? Okay. Guys, I think we have a couple of minutes left, because guess what? I need to apply for my British visa. Though I have my green card, American green card, I have to get a visa for every single country except for United States and Canada. Because with the Russian passport, you need a lot of visas. So today I'm applying for my British visa because I'm going to go to Britain in June. I'm super excited. And then I'm gonna go to my doctor, and then I need to get a guitar for my friend, and then I'm gonna do some more moving, some more stuff, because you see my apartment, have you seen it? It's empty. There is nothing here. Just the chair that I just bought and the table, but I need to do some moving. So that's the plan for the day. And I also have to publish a video to my Russian channel. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this live stream. What I need to know from you guys, what is the best time to stream? I need your advice on the best timing. So thank you so much for joining me today. It was awesome to talk to you. I'm glad we are back with our live streams, and I will see you very soon. Bye.